The ending is very tender. Hi guys, this is Dale Vandersand, musical theatre coach, here today to talk about another aspect of Hamilton, the character arc of Eliza Schuyler Hamilton from Helpless on to Burn. We'll also talk a little bit about her postlude at the end of the show. If you do like this video, please give me a like and leave a comment below what character or song or aspect of Hamilton you would like me to review for you. If you're new to this channel, please click on subscribe and click on the bell, ding, for future notifications. Let's move on to the song Helpless. It's very clever. Eliza comes out in the middle of everything singing, I do, I do, I do. And before they're even married, she's already giving her vows, I do, I do. You know where she's headed. So here Eliza's taking over, singing the song. This isn't a rap song. So much of the hip-hopera is rap, but she gets into this patter. It echoes the rap. But there's a really catchy melody here that's starting up, musical writing by Miranda. It's a very pleasing song, and it shows her innocence. It just shows how, you know, she's happy in this first meeting of Hamilton, and she has the sense that they will be married.
Sister made her way across the room to you, and I got nervous thinking what she gonna do. She grabs you by the arm, I'm thinking I'm through. Then you look back at me and suddenly I'm helpless. Oh, look at those eyes, oh, I'm helpless. I know down and around and I'm so into you.
Okay, here we have a situation where the musical doesn't reflect the history of real life, because Angelica, at this point that they did meet Hamilton, was already married to Jonathan Church. So that was an impossibility. But Miranda said it made more sense in the story to give her the choice not to have him. And it made it stronger, a choice for him as a writer. But it makes you as an audience member kind of sit at the edge of your seat. Okay, what's going to happen? Who's he going to marry? If you didn't come in already knowing the history. It's very interesting that here we have an historical character, Eliza, who is using very modern language. We've already established that in this opera, but it strikes me here when she says, I'm into you. That's not something that an 18th century woman would have said. Throughout the show, we have updated language to bring it home. It's trying to communicate to today's audience.
Where are you taking me?
I'm about to change your life.
Then by all means, lead the way.
Elizabeth Schuyler, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Schuyler,
My sister.
Thank you for all your service.
if it takes fighting a war for us to meet, it will have been worth it.
I'll leave you to it.
There's a nice sister dynamic there. Please check out my video on Satisfied, where I discuss Angelica and her characterization and her regret, perhaps, in that moment of giving up Hamilton to Eliza.
1 week later, I'm writing a letter nightly. Now my life gets better every letter that you write me. Laughing at my sister, cause she wants to form a harem.
I'm just saying, if you really love me, you would share 'em.
Ha! 2 weeks later, in the living room, stressing. My father stone-faced while you're asking for his blessing. I'm dying inside as you whine and dine. And I'm trying not to cry, cause there's nothing that your mind can't do.
Here we have Angelica saying, if you loved me, you would share him, which is kind of bold, but it comes from an actual letter that Angelica wrote to Eliza, saying that if you were as generous as the old Romans, you would lend him to me for a little while. It's very racy. But the 18th century was a a lot more racy than perhaps we think of, especially when we think of the Founding Fathers.
My father makes his way across the room to you. I panic for a second, thinking we're through. But then he shakes your hand and says, be true. And you turn back to me, smiling.
Notice also here, Eliza is ebullient. She's acting like a young woman. She's flitting about. She can't sit still for a minute, which is not really the character. We see her as being much more of a homebody, perhaps, much more quiet than Angelica as a contrast. But here she's not quiet at all. You get the inner butterflies coming out and causing her to flutter around herself. Also, you get those riffs. Ah! That music also tells you how she's feeling. It kind of gives you the vocal flutter in a way so that it matches the action that she's doing on stage.
I don't have a dollar to my name, an acre of land, a troop to command, a dollop of fame. All I have's my honor, a tolerance for pain, a couple of college credits and my top-notch brain. Insane. Your family brings out a different side of me. Peggy confides in me. Angelica tried to take a bite of me. No stress. My love for you is never in doubt.
When Hamilton starts the dialogue with Eliza, or his monologue in essence, he goes into the rap rhythm, which is not out of place because we have this regular rhythm happening in the song. It's interesting. I'm going to make a comment about Lynn's performing. I've heard it said that he's not a great singer. His acting comes into question for some people. I think his acting fulfills the role. He's very good at rapping. If you see another video that I have for one last time, I'll talk about this a little. Helpless is kind of a set song. You have, except for that little dialogue in between, you start off with a chorus with the same words that repeats throughout the song. The stage business also tells a story. We're seeing her meet Hamilton, we're seeing them court, we're seeing her get letters, time is passing. And then we see her with her veil on, they're going to be married. So the visuals are telling the story, the song is giving us the underlying emotion, Eliza's emotion. Okay, here's an anachronism, a musical anachronism. We hear the Here Comes the Bride theme. That comes from Richard Wagner's opera Lohengrin, which premiered in 1850. So we recognize it. Again, we're looking at things that touch us in modern day. They wouldn't have known that song. It wasn't written yet by the time that they got married in 1780, a whole 70 years earlier.
In New York, you can be a new man. In New York, you can be a new man.
So here we end. They get married, they kiss, they seal the deal. So what do we take away from this song? It's interesting, the chorus comes in not to echo what we've already heard, but to kind of bring back the New York theme. In New York, you can be a new man. This is furthering Hamilton's story. It, in a way, suggests that he really was marrying a Schuyler's sister for the position, for the prominence, to get into society so that he could continue his political career. Angelica states in Satisfied how she knows he's kind of after a position, but that's probably not unusual for the time period. All three women, especially Angelica and Eliza, exhibit wanting to live outside the box. Angelica, who's the mind, and Eliza, who prioritizes the heart. She says the word, my heart, and Angelica says, my mind. Okay, in contrast to Helpless, we move on a few songs to Burn. I want to show the scope that Eliza has to encompass as an actress. We saw her flitting around as a youth, Eliza being a wonderful mother. Then we get this moment in the show where Hamilton has to try to do damage control after his affair was made public, and Eliza now is made a fool publicly. But here is a good emotional moment for a musical show to show the strength of Eliza as a woman, as a wife, and as a mother. This harp music is ruminating.
I saved every letter you wrote me. From the moment I read them, I knew you were mine. You said you were mine. I thought you were mine.
She repeats this word mine, which we heard her say many times before as well. Miranda's lyrics do this. They repeat in a different context and take on a whole different meaning or a depth of meaning. She's trying to reconcile what has been true for her this entire time.
Do you know what Angelica said when we saw your first letter arrive? She said, be careful with that one, love. He will do what it takes to survive. You and your words flooded my senses. Your sentences left me defenseless. You built me palaces out of paragraphs. You built cathedrals. I'm rereading the letters you wrote me. I'm searching and scanning for answers in every line, for some kind of sign. And when you were mine, the world seemed to burn.
Now she's using the word burn. The title of the song, one meaning of burn, that they were hot together, they had a wonderful relationship, and love was aflame. But we also know that the word burn here is going to turn into her being burned.
You published the letters she wrote you. You told the whole world how you brought this girl into our bed. In clearing your name, you have ruined our lives. Do you know what Angelica said?
One has to commend Miranda for telling the women's story of this history. This has been in the history books for centuries, that Hamilton was a Lothario. She's being every woman in this case. She's being anybody who's experienced the infidelity.
When she read what you'd done, she said, you've married an Icarus. He was flown too close to the sun. You and your words obsessed with your legacy. Your sentences border on senseless, and you are paranoid in every paragraph how they perceive you.
Phillipa Soo is doing a beautiful job of letting her voice get a little more growl in it, a little more gravelly, to really show her emotions at this moment. The music gets louder and more intense. Otherwise, it's been rather a quiet beginning with her trying to piece things together. Now she's letting her emotions take the better of her.
I'm erasing myself from the narrative. Let future historians wonder how Eliza reacted when you broke her heart.
This is what I was saying before. Here Eliza is saying, let historians wonder how Eliza reacted. We know as an audience that we're looking at historical characters, although we're being brought very close to their lives. But she tells us this. She's reminding us that it's important to tell the narrative. Another word that she burning it. She's burning the bond. The fact that they rebuild is a different story, but this bond that took us from Helpless to here is being burned on stage before us, and again, it's a catharsis for her.
You forfeit all rights to my heart. You forfeit the place in our bed. You'll sleep in your office instead, with only the memories of when you were mine. I hope that you
Okay, she's refrained from saying all this time that she's burning the letters what she says at the end. I hope that you burn. How powerful a change in character from the moment that we saw her sing Helpless to this point that she's lost her son, lost her reputation, lost the love of her husband. It's heartbreaking. Fire is to purify. We don't see the fire anymore. The last time she puts the letter into the metal bin, then she stands up and there's a steeliness that comes over her, and that's when she says, I hope that you burn. But she doesn't say it loud. She doesn't scream it or yell it out. She's done her yelling as much as she can do. She's a very gentle person. We know she eventually finds a way to be his wife. But this is the moment that experience has changed her. Then what else do we know she has to endure but Hamilton's death? Not to spoil anything for you. So she has to endure all the tragedies. He may be the tragic character, but she's having to bear the weight of it. In the finale of the musical, we're concerned with who tells your story. Who's going to tell Hamilton's story? But Eliza. Well, we assume that that's Hamilton's story, but the musical is called Hamilton. She's a Hamilton. It's also her story. And in the end, we get to hear one of the founding mothers' stories. Eliza's putting herself back in the narrative.
I live another 50 years, it's not enough. I interview every soldier who fought by your side. She tells our story.
This goes back to the other song where she's saying it would be enough just to be your wife. Now she's able to stand there herself and tell her history, her future history.
Try to make sense of your
Time is being repeated in various meanings throughout this finale. It has to do somewhat with Hamilton feeling like he didn't have enough time, which he didn't because his life was cut short. We have Eliza, who lived to 97 years old. She did a lot with her life, probably didn't feel like she had enough time to accomplish everything that she had the mind to do. And I also wonder that it's also not Lynn's way of saying, I have so much material and it's already 2.5 hours. I'm running out of time.
I speak out against slavery. You could have done so much if you only had time. And when my time is up, have I done enough? Will they tell our story? Oh, can I show you what I'm proudest of? The orphanage. I established the first private orphanage in New York City. The orphanage. I helped raise hundreds of children.
Now we have Eliza stopping the action, telling us about the accomplishment that she is most proud of, creating the first orphanage in New York City. Eliza had already worked with charities for the relief of poor widows for many, many years, and then she founded the Orphan Asylum Society, and that now is called the Graham Wyndham. So this orphanage that she established still exists today. It's a wonderfully long legacy that she leaves behind her after a wonderfully long life.
I get to see them growing up. In their eyes I see you, Alexander. I see you every time. And when my time is up, have I done enough? Will they tell my story?
I believe it was around 700 children that she had helped herself with this orphanage. And actually, among the children that she and Alexander had raised in their own home was an orphan that they took in.
Oh, I can't wait to see you again. It's only a matter of time. Will they tell your story? Who lives, who dies, who tells your story? Will they tell your story? Who lives, who dies, who tells your story?
The ending is very tender. In giving Eliza the last moment in the show, I think it's a stroke of brilliance because it's a very tender moment for something that's been a very, let's say, noisy musical all the way throughout. Hamilton takes her hand, they walk together, it's both of their story, and then he lets go and lets her have the spotlight. And non-verbally, she walks to the center, looks up as the chorus says, "Who tells your story?" and she gasps because her story has been told. So it's lovely. Now we see the full arc of her story. Just as important, a parallel story to Alexander Hamilton's, how it's personalized by the actress, by Phillipa Soo, and by the writing. It makes us all leave with a sense of a different history being told. So thank you for watching. If you like this video, please click like, leave a comment below, let me know what else you would like me to cover on this channel regarding Hamilton or any other musical or any other song, a character. Please subscribe, click on that bell for notifications, ding! And I hope to see you next time. In the meantime, be safe, good health to you and your loved ones, keep music in your heart. Ciao for now.